Welcome to the Underdog Podcast yet again. We back. Ah, look at that, baby. We back. It's been such a long time, guys. We've missed you. We know you've missed us. And today, I have to say, I have a very special guest. I know her personally. We come from the same hood. And these are one of the first people that actually embraced this concept of the Underdog Podcast. And firstly, we thank her for that, for pushing that. But also, she has an amazing story to tell. And this is why we are here. I'm just a facilitator, as you know, right? But I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to hand it over to her to introduce herself. Hello, darling.
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
I feel like I'm like, like we should be having confetti and everything like.
Hey, look at that.
But thank you so much, and it's such a bliss to be here. I've been, I can safely say that sitting here is a tick on one of my manifestations.
Take that. Thank you.
It's definitely a tick on my manifestation list because I saw this and I don't know. I think it was last year. Last year, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, my boys are doing something. This is really beautiful. And I didn't even want to, before I could even, try to tap into what is the podcast about and whatever. I think the first thing about us is Batwakondo Fire. We always have each other's backs.
Of course.
So this was something that I was going to support.
Yeah.
So I was one of the first subscribers. And whilst I've been seeing the work, the build up and the growth.
Yeah.
I've always said, I wonder what do I have to do to deserve that seat. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to the amazing conversations.
You deserved it a long time ago. We were just taking baby steps to get to you, right?
Yeah.
But firstly, I think it's more important for you to tell us who you are.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, but they don't know, so they want to know who I'm talking to today. Please.
So I am Bothlale Modisane. This is just what's on the ID book.
Of course.
The green book.
No, we use smart cards now. Some of us.
I was shattered when I had to do that, But Bothlale Modisane, that's when I'm not wearing my normal cap. And then when I'm behind the mic sometimes, because I do online radio.
Oh, nice.
I am the ghetto snob. And how I would normally intro myself is, hey, this is Miss B, the ghetto snob, the best of both worlds.
I love
the one who's the perfect blend for whatever your heart desires. and the reason why, I went with the ghetto snob is because, when people converse with us, they will, most of the time, with all the 9 to 5s that I've had, or whenever I've had to make conversations over the telephone, I'd have even white people saying, when they hear my name and they're like, where are you from? I'm like, born and bred in Soweto. And it would be one of those, are you sure? Why do you have a twang? And I'd be very quick to call them out to say, no, I don't have a twang. I'm articulate, and there's a huge difference. So you got to be schooled.
Definitely.
But people then automatically assume that, she's such a snob. Or they look at how I'm dressed or how I look or whatever, and it's like, such a snob. And I embrace that because it takes a lot to actually just be dubbed something, And I know, I'm ghetto when I have to be ghetto, So I embrace who I am fully. I'm the ghetto snob. So that's when I'm doing my online radio. I'm Miss B to my friends and a whole lot of other people. I'm also an MC for events, R&B and soul events. I do a lot of those. I also do corporate MCing, among other things. Anything that involves blabbing, I'm there. But I'm also a spokesperson to a very important organization that is very close to my heart, Season4 Foundation, which was established in 2021. So obviously, the story behind it would be, that of Season4, who passed away in 2020. She was like a little sister to me, a cousin sister to, somebody who's become a brother, who we grew up as a brother, Thabiso Pule. And, so obviously she looked up to me as a big sister, and she was like my little sister as well. So when she passed on, a lot of us were affected.
Of course.
Excuse me, a lot of us were affected simply because we knew both parties. We knew the perpetrator and we knew the victim. And it was one of those things that tore Meadowlands apart, over and above the rest of the world. But it tore a lot of us apart. I'm sure you were affected as well.
Affected a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
I know.
Yeah, but when the judgment was finally passed, I think in 2022, because the case ran for a good 2 years. In 2022, when the judgment was finally passed, and the perpetrator was given life sentence without parole.
Sheesh. That's forever.
That's forever. Kibiza life sentence Yamabur. Because
why?
because back then, when you got a life sentence, before everything was amended, before post 1994, when you got a life sentence, it was, I think usually a life sentence then was like 50. It was 50 years. So you would know via for a very long time. So for us as an organization to be able to achieve such result, it was a huge milestone. It was a huge milestone, especially because in this space, in the GBVF space, you get, for those that are actually convicted, they normally get a slap in the wrist. You get somebody who's murdered, who has done the most heinous crimes, and they get 10 years, some 5. Some 3, and some suspensions, and some just don't even get the day in court. But for us to have such a case, and at that time, because it was during the COVID time, and the whole world was watching. The whole world. I mean, we were on CNN, Al Jazeera, everywhere. It was such a spectacle. And the irony to all of that is that, and I'd like to think that this is part of Tsego's manifestations, because Tsego she always said that, she wanted the world to know her. She wanted, so she's always wanted to be out there. And it was so crazy how the universe made her famous posthumously. So so the family had ultimately said, look, we want for her name to be remembered and known in a positive manner. We don't just want people to remember Season4 Pule as the 8-month pregnant girl who was hanged on the tree, and it made a lot of sense. And what we do as a foundation, we ultimately drew strength from that period, and actually our blueprint we drew from our occurrences and our experiences during the 2 years, which was that when we had a conversation with ourselves or among each other, and the biggest question was, what do we do that is different? And what also carried us throughout, what was the reason, and outside the live televisions and the media as a whole, what was it that kept us going, that caused us not to give up? We were threatened. We were ridiculed by,
of course,
by the family, the perpetrator's family. We were sworn at. A whole lot of things happened in the background, but we stomached it. We had each other, but more than anything, we remain one of the most unique cases in that throughout the whole period, from day 1 up to the last day, we never once seeked, or maybe never had the support. We never lacked support. Be it from neighbors, be it from other organizations. politicians, obviously they
politicians or politics.
The media itself. But more than anything, I think what I'm trying to drive at is that there was a long-lasting consistency. The level of support system that we had, honestly, it was the first time that I'd ever experienced anything like that, and we all agreed with the family to say, you know what, this was actually the stronghold, and that's where our true story was birthed. And we said, if we are going to be doing a good deed for the people out there, especially using Sekgo's name, we ought to pay back what we got. And that's exactly what we're doing right now, because at the core of what we do, or our services, we make sure that we will assist people open cases. We walk the journey with them from when they open cases all the way up until they get the judgment. Everything else that gets to happen in between, we do not have the expertise. We're still babies,
of course. No.
We do not have the expertise. So another thing that we've had to open ourselves up to is to just creating a space where we're able to collaborate, be it with government entities or other organizations and everything, because this is something that we need to fight as a unit and not just as ourselves. And we found that we are changing so many lives without it being loud. It's not every case that we get to handle that gets to be in the media, and we don't need to,
it doesn't have to be in the media,
and hence we found ourselves sometimes when we're approached by government to actually assist when it comes to celebrities. We've kind of drawn ourselves back. We've declined simply because we pride ourselves in saying that we want to be the voice for the voiceless. We want to fight for the underdog.
Yes, of course. There you go.
And for those people who do not afford legal fees,
counsel,
legal counsel and everything, and for people who are always of the mentality that all cases are bought. Yes, we do know this is South Africa, and a lot of cases are bought, and brown envelope is our way of life. We do know that, but also we found that a lot of cases, and so many cases, that's not even what's really happening. What would be happening would be that people do not understand the system, and they do not even understand the legal jargon.
So of course, they're not lawyers, they're not prosecutors, they're not judges.
Exactly. We had somebody from an organization that is part of community safety that is called Ikaya Letemba. And they had somebody designated to us the whole time who was making sure they make us understand the proceedings of court on that particular day, or what we should expect next. They were walking us through each and every single thing. So even if we walked out of court and we had stayed there the whole day only to get a postponement, or when they say further investigations and all of that, we would walk away, but we'd have to sit down and debrief and be made to understand what actually happened. And we found that a lot of people, you go, they'll say, but evidence is thing, why are they not, and you don't understand.
This is not a street fight.
It's not a street fight. And there are processes and procedures, and, it takes long before we could reach the end. And therefore, we've taken it upon ourselves to say, we have Tumisankatake, who is an uncle to Sekgo. And he's an attorney. He's got his own law firm.
I remember that gentleman.
And because he also felt it, he was gutted when all of this happened, especially given the fact that he felt it even more harder, because with him, he was more in the eye, because he was the defense lawyer for Sandile Manswe. For Sandile Manswe with the Karabo Mokwana case. And it's one of those, it was like at that particular time for him, it must have been like, yo, each up, but it slapped differently
when it affects
hit
your
home.
family.
When it hit home, and on that day, I remember the day of the burial when he was talking. He took a stance, and he made a pledge to say, you know what, going forward, I will no longer represent or defend anyone that has to do with a femicide case.
Oh my.
You know, I will definitely not do that.
Yeah.
And instead, what he has gone to do is that his way of giving back will be that if anybody, especially with the cases that we get to deal with, if anybody is in need of legal counsel, his office will do that pro bono.
Oh wow.
So we have, you know, whenever, if we feel somebody's compromised, we pull somebody from, you know, from his team in, and to say, you know, this is what happens, and they get to work hand in hand with whoever else that is there. There's a lot that we get to do.
I can imagine there's quite a lot, and I mean, you said a mouthful. You literally unpacked that whole foundation in what you've just said, right? And I could see the passion. I could see, you know, the feelings, the emotions, everything. I could see it as you were talking.
100%.
And firstly, I want to say I think Season4 Foundation, Season4 Pule Foundation is doing an amazing job. From what I have seen, it's snowballing into this you know, this monster of an organization
100%.
that stands for women and, you know, against gender-based violence and femicide. And my question,
may I correct?
Yes, please.
May I correct?
Please.
And so we are very driven in saying that we strongly stand against GBV. And we always say that the G in GBV doesn't stand for girl or girly. The G is gender. So be it that you're a guy, you're a man who is, you know, who is going through a lot. You need to come out. We are your safe space. We will hold your hand. We will walk the journey with you. You know, because the reason why a lot of people still think that men are the biggest inciters or the biggest perpetrators is because men are quiet, and there's a lot that we women do and get away with simply because men remain mum. And the reason why men remain mum, over and above the fact that bringing out into daikali or whatever, or you feel that you're ridiculed, but the biggest factor remains that men do not have safe spaces to be able to express their emotions or their problems or anything of that sort.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much for correcting me. And you're quite right. Gender is not women or girl, or it's every gender, right? And it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It's about everybody.
100%.
And I love this movement so much. And I watched it grow. And as you were speaking, you were like, it affected everyone. I thought of myself when all of this was happening. And I also feel like, you know, there was a point where I was being seen as a perpetrator because not being able to speak up, or maybe not, you know, supporting. But obviously that's not the case. You know, we were just in different places at that time.
Also, you know, we spoke about something very important to say that it's very important to not just be a consumer of what comes. It's very important to decipher and actually try to look at what's what before you can actually, because your word is your commitment.
Of course.
You know,
of course.
If I'm gonna call you out and say, but Tepo is a this and that, I must be able to stand my ground and say, you know what, this is, you know, I can't then come back and say, yo, but Tepo, I'm so sorry, you know, I thought because somebody said. So it's understandable that you had to kind of, you know, you also had to process because you were emotionally affected.
Of course.
It was that close.
Of course.
You had to process things and then, you know, wait it out. But, you know, rather the support that comes genuinely after than one that's half-hearted during.
Love that. My goodness. Just spit in bars. Love that sense. I love it. Okay. Great organization, doing great things. And I think for me, it's what I've seen after that whole first case. It's everything else that has come after that. And I think that's where the movement is built, right? As a movement builder myself, and watching you guys organically grow, it's a marvel to watch. Honestly, it's a marvel to watch, and to hear you speak about this like this. I know there's a lot of other, you know, women that work with you in this movement, and to get to a point where it is, I just want to say, Firstly, congratulations, guys. This is absolutely amazing.
We're humbled.
Absolutely amazing. And also, I love the fact that you just corrected me. And then in my correction, you are mentioning that, hey, Chief, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Because it started as a female case, it doesn't mean it's only dealing with female cases. We're dealing with everybody. And South Africa has a serious problem when it comes to intimate abuse.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
There's a serious problem there. I want to ask something here.
Yeah.
A little tricky.
Of course.
Generally, we are taught or we are told that women don't support each other.
Yeah.
Right? But this foundation, at its core, is women supporting each other.
Yeah.
How did you guys work that out? I know it must have been very difficult, but you made it. Here you guys are.
So I think also how we put ourselves out there kind of drives the narrative.
Okay.
There's a lot that happens in the background.
Of course.
But generally we are extremely supportive of each other.
Yeah.
We were not hastened in terms of registering because we thought, you know what, we don't want to end up as a white elephant.
White elephant, yeah.
You know, we've got other organizations that started exactly how ours did.
Yeah.
And
then fizzled out
they phased out simply
yeah.
because when the name is still hot at that particular time, you're able to get funding for this, for that, you know. And we were very stern and strong about what we wanted to represent and all of that. So yes, at the core is a lot of women, but we have a stronghold of men as well.
Okay.
We have on our board, we have an LGBTQI plus representative.
Okay.
We have men who are advisors and are serving directly, and so it's balanced.
Okay.
So it's not just, you know.
Yeah.
And we have had people that we've had to phase out of our structure simply because they were going against that whole thing of us building each other. And there were women or a woman who was trying to tear down everything that we were building.
Man.
You know, there was also a man that was trying to tear down, you know. But at the core of it all is that, you know, we'd like to think that as women we need to always help, you know, fix each other's crowns. I'm such a klutz. I'm such a boy. You know that. I'm such a tomboy. I'm such a klutz. So I'm not always well put together. But I promise you, I have sisters in the foundation and around me in general that will always, you know, before I go on camera, they will always say, B. And they'll fix my hair, they'll fix my...
Look how beautiful you look today.
But because I'm not such a girly girl, I'm not always powdering my nose and all of that. I have my sisters, you know, we have our chair lady, Lerato Somdaka, we have our, you know, our sister, Mpomo Hale. You know, I have sisters around me that will always make sure that I look the part and, you know, they're cheering me on. You know, they're able to say, oh, no, but you know, but we do it with such love and respect, and therefore it's not easy for us.
You know, hearing you say, you know, the different types of people within the organization, I'm just in awe because, you know, your organization to me now represents a just organization, right? Equitable organization, diverse organization, you know, and inclusive. Right, so this is a Jedi principle that generally is not followed, right? And you guys are trailblazing this thing, you know. And this is amazing, man. I'm super proud of you guys so much, and I'm sure in the future, I shall put my support as an individual, as a professional, you know, so that I can also be a part of that in that way. Because believe it or not, I think people don't understand where we come from. We watched our mothers get beaten. We watched our sisters get beaten by men who did not know who they were. It
was part of the culture.
Exactly. Right? And now we cannot continue doing that.
We're woke.
We can't do that anymore. Right? So we are in a different space in our lives. South Africa is alive with possibilities. Beautiful country to live in, but also has people that are trailblazers like you guys. But this is not what we are here to talk about only, bro. No. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy, Butch.
Yes.
Shout out to my boy, you know.
Brother. My brother.
Yeah. I know him my whole life, that nigga. Since high school.
Oh, that man.
And we see you, we're watching you, we know you're doing great things, and we know you've done great things.
Yeah.
Even with this organization.
100%.
You were in the forefront.
Even with me personally, bro. Even with me personally. And that's one man that he's humbled me so much. We've had our fair share of our cat fights and
of
you
course.
know. But you know, we've also found each other and have put each other in a position where we grow each other, and intentionally so, with so much love. He is making such a huge difference. He's seen his faults. Whenever he's faulted, whenever he's tripped, he comes back. He's the king of comebacks. You know, he comes back, and now he's doing amazing work. And still, you know, at the core, he will still give me a call and say, when I go driving, 1, 2, 3, you know, this and that is happening. Have you seen such a case? Have you know, and we'll liaise and we'll make sure that what goes out really goes out, and we sing from one voice, you know. Amazing soul.
No, definitely. I have my own things at him.
Of course.
But I was going to say, look, if you're not fighting, and this is what I always say, if you are friends and you're always agreeing on something all
then
the
there's
time,
something wrong with you guys. You're not building.
You're not building. Right? Because over time, you are going to change. And that change requires people that love you to love you still.
Hundreds.
If they cannot do that, then they're not meant to be in your life anymore. And that's okay. That's part of growth.
I always say that every single part of your elevation requires load shedding.
Requires load shedding. I like that. I like that. Every single part of your growth,
of your elevation
requires
load shedding.
Load shedding. Load shedding means sala.
Can't go up there.
Bad lady no more. No more bad ladies, bro. So like I was saying, we are also here to talk about Bothlale. Right? We know the amazing work you've done with the organization, which is great. But Bothlale, what does Bothlale do outside of that? I mean, that's a big space, a big part of your life.
That's a big space.
What else do you do? I know you started saying it at the beginning, but you didn't go deep into it. You didn't.
So outside me being a soccer mom.
Oh, she's a soccer mom.
I'm a soccer mom.
You need a van. You need a soccer van,
I do.
Right? Yeah, she needs a soccer
van. I know for a fact that I'm an amazing mom to 2 young boys. My first one is 22.
Oh, wow.
He's like a man.
Oh my goodness.
And my little one is 14. He's the soccer boy.
Okay.
And you know, I'm very closely knitted, and I learn a lot from them because I'm emotionally and psychologically dependent on them as much as they are my. We have this, there are these tattoos that we have.
Oh, yeah?
All right. There are these tattoos that we have, and I'll just kind of, and I'll explain it to you along with everybody else on them. So obviously it's the anchor and the compass, and then there's a whirlwind in between. And the quote on the side, it says, "Not all those who wander are lost." And the purpose of this the whirlwind, or was that life is not always going to take you from point A to point B. Sometimes you might have to go to D before you reach B and all of that. But in any way, as long as you know what your grounding force is, which for me are my kids and my belief system, or actually my kids, and then with what leads me, being my belief system, being God, being my guide, you know, you will always reach the destination. The only difference would be that you'd be more empowered, you know, and that is ultimately what I think life is. So when my older one turned 16, I made sure he got this, and I said, this is my 16th birthday gift to you. When my little one, in 2 years, when he turns 16, he's definitely getting this, because I'm not always going to be there, and whenever life throws whatever challenges to them, I want them to actually look at this
and remember
who
they are,
you know, and that but You know, I've always been a very lucky girl. I grew up, I was telling my kids, you know, sometimes you get a call that I've won a competition that I've never even entered. And there were so many things. Every single space that I'd walk in, I was always walking with so much light that I attracted so much light. And as a result, I got to achieve quite a few things early. I lost my mom very early.
Oh, man,
you know,
yes,
I lost my mom early. Remember that? I was, I think, in grade 9, grade 10 when I lost my mom, and she was a single mother. But I come from a family of matriarchs, because then, you know, my grandmothers had always been the ones that are at the forefront of every single building block and every single change that would be done across all family spectrums, you know. So you know, when my mom passed, it was such a difficult one. I didn't know how to kind of like comprehend it. But the craziest thing was that my mom passed when I was fresh into my teens, you know, when we didn't really get each other.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course, and it's that period.
And she was just, you know, that mom, that crazy mom, just right now and all of that. And was like, okay, cool, you know. But so as a result, when my mom passed, I wasn't extremely shattered, but I just also, there was this calmness that said, okay, fine, you know what? I remember when her corpse was still lying there, because she passed away at home. When her corpse was still lying there, when everybody was screaming, and you know, I ended up going naked. So I took a walk, went across, I got my late friend, Dokas from Vincent. I got her and I said, Kupon Kape, and her mom was like, what's happening? I don't know, my mom is late. My mom just passed away and everything. Kupon Kape again so that I can go tell Pastor Mutawu, you know. And I kind of like this. Automatically, the independent girl just awoken at that particular instance. And so we got back, and the week went by. I didn't know how to deal with all of this. And to date, I look at people who are losing their mothers or their parents very late, when they've gotten to grow and they've gone codependency, you know. And I say that it was unfortunate, but I find that I was quite lucky, because I don't know what I would be able to do losing my mother now. You know, so much. You know, you go back to being the independence in infancy. You know, so it was just one of those. I lost my mom that early, but my grandmother, my aunts, I had a lot of people just picking me up and making sure to catapult me. You know, I got married and widowed at a very early age. You know, and so I've had to do so much, 9 to 5s, and then eventually everything just falling apart, you know. But then also that was the universe also saying, how much 9 to 5? You know, and me being a life number past 8 also. I've got the gift of the gap. I love that. I've got the gift of the gap, and somebody very close to my heart would always say that my voice is my invoice. You know, and therefore everything that I do right now that is changing lives, that is impacting lives and everything, is ultimately things that I get to do with my gift of the gap. You know, when I'm an MC, when I am a radio presenter, when I speak for the organization, every single thing ultimately is from the gift of the gap, and that's where I'm hoping and praying that God will keep blessing me.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will continue to do that as the universe opens itself up to you, and you get better and better with time. I mean, you've had to fight one battle after the other. And that's quite difficult. A lot of people don't make it out of these things.
Definitely
What do you think helped you? I mean, you mentioned your grandmothers, your aunts, obviously, they played a role in your mother's passing.
Nothing will build you quicker than betrayal. You know, when I've lost a lot early, and I've been betrayed by those closest to me so many times. And I then grew up to, actually it's things that I'm learning now, you know, to say that you are born of your family, but you're not born for them. I teach my kids that even now. And I always say that listen, when it's time for you to do whatever, yes, it's nice to consider me as your mother, but ultimately you can't live your life for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to live my life vicariously through
yes.
you. You know?
Hey, that word, vicarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I will have an influence, yes, and I will have a, you know.
Yeah, of course.
I'm the mom. You know.
You're the mom.
You know, but that's just one of those things that this is me trying to prevent my kids from going through what I'm going through, or rather equip them. You know, my older one, his close people, things you know, and he's kind of like still in a stagnation type of space, and he's the loudest clapper and he's the biggest cheerleader for everyone around him. And I said to him recently, we were just having a conversation while he's still doing other things, and listen, when your turn comes, I need you to channel yourself, to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and otherwise, to say that not everybody that you've clapped for will clap for you. Will clap for you.
Yeah.
I said, know that, because when your blessing comes, it's going to be far bigger than anyone can comprehend. So build that.
You know, I love how you know yourself so well.
Yeah.
It's refreshing, right? It's almost like I'm talking to another creative. Right?
I am a creative. We are creative.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about this. The things that you've said that have come out of your own mouth, like this light that I bring. You know, people think we are crazy, Chief. They don't understand. They don't understand, because you can't hide this thing.
Yeah.
And if you hide this thing, then you might as well just let everything go.
Self-awareness.
Go into a box.
Self-awareness is the beginning of greatness.
If you can self-reflect in a way that you know when you're wrong and accountable for that, and also when you're right, you know you're right, and you stand on your voice and you say, hey, you know, it's amazing. I love it so much. And we've never had a conversation this long. We've had conversations not this long and not this deep, and I appreciate it so much that you are able to, you know, express yourself in that way. Now, gift of the gab. You said online radio station.
Yeah.
What is it? You know?
Blomanati Radio.
Blomanati Radio.
Yeah, Blomanati Radio. It's in Orlando East.
Yeah.
Always doing things. Okay.
When are you on?
And it found me. I'm on Monday, Wednesdays, Friday from 12 to 3. I got the midday slot.
Oh, nice.
Called The Podium. It's one of those that found me.
Oh.
I went in for an interview, and whilst we were just having a chat, the station owner just said, "Oh, Miss B, grab the mic." And I grabbed the mic, and we were just having a conversation. And after the conversation, he was like, "This is your show." And I was like, "What?" You know, and I just grew, and I learned everything, and that's what we do at Blomanati. You come in knowing nothing, but as long as you have that belief, listen, we plug you and we fly higher.
Blomanati
Radio, your ultimate choice.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 12 to 3. Oh, beautiful. I love it. I hope we don't keep you here. No. You have to go there.
Oh, no, I'm free. I'm good.
Okay. So you do radio as well. You also talked about doing MCing. So is this at events? Is it at weddings?
I do, yes. And I try to keep away from funerals. I've done like 3 funerals, and Tsuho's one was the biggest one, because I was put on the spot. They said, you have to do this. I was like, you know, but I would like to, I love just speaking at happy events, you know, and so I do corporate events, I do weddings, parties, and you know, big stage events like your R&B and souls, and you know, so anything that requires me to say, audience, I got you.
Elvis, how much time do we have, Chief? We have 5 minutes. I told you, it flies, Chief, it flies. So how do people that want to acquire your services get in contact with you? How can they get
my social media platforms, I just keep them as such. Bothlale Modisane, on all platforms. On TikTok, Facebook, Insta. I'm still not extremely hectic. I'm not hectic on Instagram. I tap in every now and then, but I'm big on TikTok and Facebook, and that's where you find me mostly. But my email address is Bothlale Modisane. So BOTLHALE 1130 @gmail.com. You can also do that. Because someone's had because I've already got an influx. I've already got an influx, but oh my God, I commend you for creating such a beautiful platform to keep growing each other. And you've always been one of those people that makes a difference. I mean, and Lani kind of difference. You've always been aware, and I was following the Greenpeace, and you would always be traveling the world doing such amazing things. But for you to kind of make a collection of all of that, your journey, and come back and say, you know, with everything that you've acquired, now you're gonna, you know, do something of this magnitude. It's a saturated space. There's a lot,
of course,
you know, but you've always been focused and you stuck to your guns. You started this, it's growing. I am so proud of you.
I appreciate you so much. I'm blushing. I appreciate you so much. You know, and as you know, when we talk about underdogs, you know, we're talking about people that are making it against all odds, right? And because we cater to a youth that has been indoctrinated in a way that they want to live these fast lives. You know, everything needs to come now or never. And I just want you to give some words of inspiration. You know, I'll give you a camera to give some words of inspiration. What would you say to a 14-year-old girl right now that is growing up in South Africa about, you know, everything that is happening and what needs to happen?
So, young girl, young boy, in all honesty, social media is not a blueprint, it's a rate print. So not everything that you see is what it appears to be. The one thing that you can do for yourself is to keep doing things that'll remind you of who you truly are. Use social media as a point of reference, but don't use it as a blueprint for how you live your life. At the end of the day, there's only one you. Don't mimic anything else. There's only one you, and that is the biggest gift that has been bestowed upon you. Otherwise, you will not find a chance to be sitting here being interviewed for who you are. You know, so for me, self-awareness is everything. And you know, keep at it, because you've got the brightest futures, especially when you've got parents like us. We're cool parents.
Come on, how can
we're
go
cool parents, you know. So utilize that and soar and become bigger than us.
Thank you so much, Bothlale. You know, we could talk the whole day. But thank you so much for making the time, and for just, you know, being yourself. You know, for just being yourself. I think we have a shortage of people who are themselves. Not only in South Africa, in the world as a whole, you know, and it's important to stand your ground and to stand your truth all the time. Buffett, as you know, we've come to that time when we have to say goodbye. But thank you so much for joining us. And remember, don't create at anyone else's pace. Create at your own pace. Ngiyanithanda mina, ngiyalerata. See you all next time.
Oh my goodness.